All right, well, Chuck, there was a moment in the call where we were talking earlier about how companies are getting through COVID. And you said customers have come to grips with the fact that this thing is going to be with us for some period of time. And oddly, because of what you have, Chuck, that's actually good for sales for you.
Well, Jim, first off, I want to just thank all of our employees for all their hard work and their commitment to our customers during the last 6 to 9 months. And I think what we saw was exactly what we thought we saw in the summer, which was, early on, our customers spent a great deal of effort and time just getting their employees productive and working from home. And then they went into a bit of a pause, which was our last quarter, where they reprioritized what they were going to be spending their money on. And then I think they came to the conclusion that, hey, this thing's going to be with us. It's going to end sometime, but we don't know when, and we can't just sit on our hands, so we have to start moving. And we saw some customers begin to do that. And, we saw improvement. It's not where we want to be, but we certainly saw improvement. And I'll tell you that the consistency we saw in the quarter from the beginning to the end is what gave us the confidence to have a bit of a different tone on the call yesterday.
Well, I think the tone, and by the way, I want to wish Kelly Kramer the best. She's a terrific CFO. Moving on, there were some things that you said about large transactions showing up in the funnel, a robust pipeline, high teens growth in Europe, federal spending. Even service provider was not horrible, Chuck. It did seem like that this is the quarter where it came together. And you did say that it would be next year. You said that it would be enterprise 5G. Have you pulled forward because of COVID?
Well, I think what we saw, Jim, is we saw across the business, we saw our commercial business improve, which was the big thing. The last 2 quarters had been in the mid-20s negative. And that's the small, medium businesses, mid-sized enterprises that we know have been most affected by COVID. We saw that business improve. It went from negative 23 last quarter to negative 8. And in the U.S., it improved even more, which is the lion's share of that business. Enterprise is very big deal driven, so it was down a bit, but I think it'll bounce back. Service provider, if you look in the U.S., it was roughly flat. And a big contributor to that was the web scale players. And, we've spent the last 5 years working hard to reestablish ourselves there. And I think we're beginning to see the fruits of that. And the service provider business in Europe was up high teens. And that was all driven by the web scale players as well. And then public sector was strong around the world. So it's, it was mixed, but there were a lot of green shoots, I would say.
Okay, one of the things that kind of mystifies me, you talked about high def value video needed in every conference room. Obviously, WebEx, very secure. But there's another outfit, Zoom Video, run by, I know, a colleague, because I think that you play fair, run by Eric Yuan. Their valuation is $119 billion. They do business to consumer and they do business to business. How are you going to be able to blunt Zoom Video from taking your clients?
Well, Jim, a couple things. Number one, I think the overall market has certainly expanded, and WebEx has done a great job. Our team's done a great job of scaling. We talked about 600 million meeting attendees in the last month versus, almost double what we saw in March. So, and in Asia, what we're seeing right now, even as they return to office, the actual usage of the platform is still increasing. And I think, if we get back to security, privacy, and enterprise-grade platforms, you've got governments around the world that are running on WebEx with WebEx Legislate. And Jitu Patel, who we hired, he was the product officer of Box, who has now come over. He has redefined the strategy for the platform. The feature velocity is very impressive right now. And I think the other thing you reference is when our customers begin to go back to the office, they are going to put high-def video in every conference room because every meeting is going to be hybrid. And we haven't seen that yet. And when you start looking at high-definition video in conference rooms, we are the leader, tightly integrated with WebEx, and we think that'll continue to create a tailwind for that business.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.